And reacting to Ukraine-Russia tensions, oil prices have climbed towards their highest level in more than 7 years on fears that a possible invasion of Ukraine by Russia could trigger sanctions from US and Europe, and it could disrupt energy exports from world's top producer as well. Now, Brent crude futures was at $95.73 a barrel. It's up $1.29 or 1.4%. This after hitting an intraday high of $95.9. US WTI crude was up $1.9 to $94.59 a barrel, hovering near session high of $94.92. Comments from the US about an imminent attack by Russia on Ukraine have rattled global financial markets. Russia could invade Ukraine at any time and might create a surprise pretext for an attack, reports say. Investors, meanwhile, are watching talks between the US and Iran to revive 2015 nuclear deal. However, a senior Iranian security official said progress in talks was becoming more difficult. In the US, robust oil prices are encouraging energy firms to ramp up output as they added the most oil rigs in 4 years last week. In what can be India's moment, like Saudi Arabia's listing of petrol giant Saudi Aramco, its state-run Life Insurance Corporation of India, popularly known as LIC, has filed draft papers with market regulator SEBI to sell 5% of its shares. It's to potentially raise nearly $8 billion. It's dwarfing biggest IPO in Asia, third largest economy by considerable margin. India's largest insurer will be selling 316.2 million shares, and government could raise little more than 600 billion Indian rupees or around $8 billion from the issuance. The listing is likely to be completed by end of March. IPO is seen as a test of investor appetite for new offerings, with a number of companies that listed last year now trading below their offer prices on concerns over lofty valuations and looming increases to interest rates by global central banks fighting inflationary pressures. Expected listing also comes against backdrop of foreign investors pulling out funds from domestic market in India. The life insurance giant, which had more than 105,000 full-time employees at the end of September last year and counts itself among top 5 global insurers, it manages more than $500 billion of assets and holds more than 60% of India's life insurance market by premiums. Indian companies raised a record $16.6 billion through IPOs in 2021, 52% more than previous record high in 2017. With no limitations on the number of flights, Vietnam will remove its COVID-19 restrictions on global passenger flights. With all markets starting tomorrow, Southeast Asian country imposed tight border controls at the start of the pandemic to keep out COVID-19 with some initial success, but that dealt a blow to its burgeoning tourism sector, which accounts for around 10% of GDP. The frequency of flights will also be restored to pre-pandemic level. Vietnam has already informed its partners about the new policy, and only China has not yet agreed to resume commercial flights with Vietnam. Vietnam had already begun gradually resuming international flights with 15 markets from beginning of this year, while easing quarantine requirements with vaccinated passengers now needing only 3 days of self-isolation. The Southeast Asian country has recorded nearly 2.5 million COVID-19 cases since pandemic began and around 39,000 deaths. Nearly 90% of its 98 million people have received at least 2 vaccine doses. WION now available in your country. Download the app and get all the news on the move.